Hello, today I want to do a video on the first part of doing a dry cure with hams and bacons and meat in general, but specifically today with pork. So these are a ham, 2 bacons, and a bunch of jowl meat that I'm doing for another friend of mine. And what we're struggling with here is we're doing it at the wrong time of the season. So we're struggling with too cold of temperatures. Ideally, the temperatures would be from the upper 30s into the mid 40s would be kind of ideal. But we kept getting it too cold. So once the salt has gone all the way through, today it's below freezing, but it's still flexible. But the salt doesn't work as fast. So times of where it needs to be just salted will vary because of temperature like that. So what I use is brown sugar and salt, 50-50. You don't have to do 50-50, but you have to at least be 50% salt to make sure you get a complete cure where you wouldn't need refrigeration. I use a Redmond salt. It's a mineral salt. This is actually salt that's used for feed, for cattle feed that I was using, but they also sell food grade salt too. So anyway, it has a lot of minerals in it, and that's what you see in the laying around here as the salt has melted out and the minerals remain. But it gives a lot of good flavor. And I think we had a little bit of paprika on this, but I'm not sure. You can always put paprika and pepper in your mixture. Some people down south would not, they wouldn't just do salt and brown sugar, they would do a whole spice mix when they go ahead and do this right from the beginning. Then they would take paper and they would wrap it and they would never wash it off. And a lot of the people down south don't even smoke it. And so of course you don't have to open it up to smoke it. They'd wrap it in paper, tie it, and hang it for a certain amount of time, usually a year is what they do. But the way I do it is I don't wrap it at least until after it's been smoked and it's rested and it's hung in the smokehouse throughout the winter, and I got maybe a couple smokes on it again in the summer as it gets warmed up again, just to make sure there's a good smoke flavor to it. But then you could wrap it for sure. So anyway, this has been laying here for a couple weeks. Typically, if the temperatures are ideal, like I said, you would do bacons under salt for 1 week, and hams you would do 2 weeks. And that is just a ballpark. But it's depending on how big they are, how thin the bacons are, and all that. Then you would wash off the bacons, dry them off, and then coat them with maple syrup, and the hams and everything with maple syrup. And then you would put pepper, paprika, like black pepper, paprika, and maybe some cayenne pepper. Cayenne pepper and black pepper in these areas right here will keep the bugs from going in there and laying their larvae and stuff like that. That's a problem if you're going to have it hanging out over summertime. And of course, if it's not covered, it's even more of a chance of that. So what I would say is if you're putting it in by October, November, it should be ready to eat by March, midsummer the next year. Anytime after that, it can continue to hang. It'll continue to reduce moisture out of it. It'll get more dried, and I don't believe the flavor is enhanced, although it's still good. But I think the best flavor many times is if you can use about 6 months and then eat it. So anyway, I'm going to wash these off, and then we'll show you how we put the maple syrup on it. Okay, so we have them all washed off, dried off, and coated with maple syrup. Now I'm just putting down black pepper, and then we'll put some paprika on it yet. You could also put other kinds of peppers, like cayenne pepper or something. And this keeps the insects off of it, gives it really good flavor, helps with the curing, all that. It just with the complex, deep flavor that you get from the aging and the curing and all that, but all done with straightforward ingredients. There's no man-made nitrates or nitrates or anything like that. It's all natural. Okay, now we have the peppers on there and the jowls are netted. I just put 2 jowls in a ham bag and knot at the one end and offset them there so they're not touching each other. So we will be making a smoke fire here again, and the bacons are there with all the pepper and everything on them, and then we got the one ham that we're adding to it. So 3 different people's stuff in here, and we are going to see how this all turns out. I've never done it in Alaska before, but there's a couple challenges also, mostly weather related, but all in all I think it's going to be the better climate than Pennsylvania was, just because we won't going to have the fly problems and the cold temperatures for much more of the year. So you know, it's not good to try to do it when it's 70, 80 degrees, 60 degrees outside even. It's too warm, so you almost need a cold cellar or something to do it. But it also has to be ventilated too, because you're reducing moisture. You can't be just doing it in a closed, moist basement or something like that. So just wish we would have started a little bit sooner, but we got a late start this year, but now we got it here. We're trying to concrete the floor this coming summer, and we'll make some more videos once we start getting into some of these and see how they taste.